whichever teams can hit, get hot in the next couple of weeks, will get to the World Series. I think it will be the Dodgers, their turn to finally survive it. I don't like them. And I think Houston is the best hitting team in the American League. I'm going with them.
Well, that was Chris Ello nearly 3 weeks ago, accurately predicting the World Series matchup. Kudos to our guest on Wednesday.
I just want to thank you
for
That
happened on October
that.
4th.
Thank you. That's for all the people out there that have told me over the years that I never write.
You know, just
and for my wife, too.
Yeah.
I am right once every now and again.
Or you could say at least twice.
Yeah.
Twice every clock. Now predict the World Series winner.
Home team wins all 7 games. I don't like what I saw from Houston when they went to New York for the ALCS. They fell apart completely.
Different team at home, though.
At home, I don't see them being beat at home. So I think this could be a World Series with a home. It goes
2-3-2, right?
Right. And just like the ALCS, I can see the home team winning every game. That gives the championship to the Dodgers.
Did you see the Vin Scully thing before Game 2?
No, but I heard about it, and it sounded like a lot of fun.
Make sure you tune that in. One thing I thought was interesting, Adrian Gonzalez, who was not on the playoff roster because of the sore back, is not with the team.
That's weak. I'm sorry. I can't get behind that. I mean, come on. He's still part of that team. Is he not getting paid by the Dodgers? Millions and millions of dollars?
The team approved his family vacation to Italy. Do you think it's one of those things where it just hurts too much not to be around it?
No, I think it's a.
Or do you think he's mad that he's not on the playoff roster?
No, I think it's a selfish decision by Adrian Gonzalez to leave his team, and just because he's not on the playoff roster, there's a ton of guys that don't, because of injuries and other little things, don't make a playoff roster. You're still there for your teammate. For your teammates, you're there, even if you don't want to be there. I think it just makes you look like a bad teammate. I'm really down on Adrian for that decision.
Strong letter to follow.
Well, yes.
The Breeders' Cup rapidly approaching to Del Mar. Our Maddie Sinclair up bright and early, the only media member to get up at 5 a.m.
Exclusive coverage.
Exclusive coverage. This is what they were talking about today at Del Mar.
45 horses pre-entered from places around the world, from France, Ireland, Great Britain, South America. We've got Bob Baffert with 5 entries in the Breeders' Cup Classic at the moment. It's always our ambition to put the best horses in the world on the racetrack in front of the public, and people here at Del Mar are going to be thrilled by what they see.
Well, hopefully the weather will break by next week.
For the horses' sake.
Yeah, for the horses' sake.
Yeah. But
for people who perhaps don't follow horse racing as closely as you do, why is the Breeders' Cup such a big deal?
Well, I think it's interesting. It's a little bit kind of like if you could, in boxing back in the day when you had 4 or 5 or 6 heavyweights that were all championship caliber. You could never get them all in the ring at the same time, of course, and you try to get the matchups. The Breeders' Cup is where you can bring the 5 or 6, 7 championship horses together and all race against each other. For that one day, that horse is a champion. I mean, horse racing is so up and down. Because you can never ask the horse how they feel.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to get champion horses against other champion horses.
It stops being
from all over the world. That part's interesting.
Stops being theoretical, and you can actually go head-to-head.
You can actually go head-to-head and see who wins it.
We're calling it the 8 days in October. The 8 days where the Aztec football season went being from the something miracle where we all had New Year's Day plans to now being another Aztec football season.
I know.
What happened?
And I'm going to be the #1 excuse maker for the Aztecs and just tell you that their offensive line is in tatters, and the one senior they have on the offensive line, Anthony Rosales, has been injured. They've had to move 3 or 4 guys around to different positions. Their defensive line, at one point or another during the Fresno State game, all 3 guys were on the sidelines getting their ankles taped or their foot taped or retaped and they got a couple guys out this week on the defensive line. Here's the thing with football. To me, the skill guys decide football games, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. However, if your offensive and defensive line are getting destroyed, then the skill guys have no impact. And that's what's happening to the Aztecs the last 2 games.
A lot of folks were writing off the Chargers season when they start out 0-4. Some folks, a sizable number of folks around here were probably enjoying that.
Yeah.
Now suddenly, with the Aztecs taking on water and the Chargers suddenly, if a field goal
they won a home game.
Well, but I mean, whatever. You made the point that with 2 field goals, they're 5-2.
That's right. They could have beaten Denver in the opener. They missed a couple field goals. They definitely would have beat Miami in the second game if they make a short field goal. So the best record in the AFC is only 5-2, and the Chargers are playing as good a defense as any team in the AFC. I don't know. Phillip Rivers, I think, is past the prime, which doesn't mean he's bad. He's just not as good as he used to be. So he's thrown a couple games away too. He's got to be careful. Don't turn the ball over. Let their defense play. And if you're still a Charger fan, I think you have a little chance this year.
Yeah, I still am a Charger fan. Hey, one national note. Carson Wentz had a great Monday night, I believe. Was a Monday night
game, yeah.
And boy, John Gruden was ready to put him in the Hall of Fame. Is he your? Does he get your MVP vote?
Well, he's the quarterback of the only 6-1 team in the NFL right now. So he's playing as well as any quarterback.
Great plays like that.
Yeah, Carson Wentz he's going to have MVP. I mean, it's a little early. I mean, it's only 7 games. You still got to go some to always.
First half MVP.
First half, and he's the MVP right now. Yeah, okay. I mean, the Eagles got the best team in football without DJ Pumphrey.
Do you think some organizations just wallow in mediocrity for a reason? Cleveland Browns trade away the chance
the rights to get
the
him.
Rams draft Goff instead of him. I mean, is that just?
I think what you're trying to, let's compare it to baseball. What you should do, if you're a baseball franchise, you should see who the Padres pass on, and then you should draft that player. It'll work for you. Kind of like what's happened to the Browns.
Yes, the 1904 FC folks were on the barge at Costera. They were going to launch their coach. Instead, they announced plans for a new 10,000-seat stadium in Oceanside.
Good.
Elaborate.
No, I'm happy for them.
Is this? I mean, the lacrosse, will that all add up to heal the Charger wound?
No, it'll never. All right,
let me ask you this:
heal them.
Can the NASL and the MLS
can they be successful
together in the same town?
Yes, they can. There's a small portion of people who will follow lacrosse, and there's a small portion of people that will follow minor league soccer. Just like there's a small portion of people who follow Gulls hockey and the indoor soccer, and all these people who follow those teams are going to be mad at me for saying this. But that's what it is. It's a small portion of the population that like these teams and support them and can keep them afloat. That's great. But as far as for San Diego as a whole, we're a major league city with minor league teams, and that bothers me.
Well, you brought up lacrosse. They were also had a very creative.
Very nice.
They launched their brand in the La Jolla Cove. Your thoughts about will professional lacrosse
ask me these things.
Ease the burden?
No, it won't.
You've never even seen professional lacrosse.
And I probably won't. Can name a team in the league?
The San Diego Seals.
Name another one.
The Saskatchewan.
You couldn't even barely name the league, let alone name the team in the league.
But
it's a fun sport. I mean, there's some people that are going to like it, but not enough to make it. We're not going to be a lacrosse town.
We could be the kings of lacrosse.
That's great. How many indoor soccer championships did we win back in the 80s and 90s?
Hey, by the way,
like 9 in a row. Did we ever become an indoor soccer city?
We're going to have 3 soccer teams and no football.
Good for us.